This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our Supreme and Master Speakers, Omeji Cat Comet, Arisu Yamakawa, Alex Franco AV, Winebow Brood, Aurora Templeton, Psyche, Azuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimstarter, Lily Black, Bob Cece, Mictor Robintow, Anathos Moonscar, Pamela Isley, Elenriel Maximus, Codeworth Novelist, Mira Miri, Celesto Nutrell, Lazy Boy, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Stormarrow, Tex, Kylin, Arthur Law, Beridan Derard, Cypup, Spencer Christmas, Noy Fafnir, Celine DeLune, Edwin, Wibsta Wolf, Severa, Sir Kabarakil, Kazran, Ventos Tia, Ryark Forbear, Late in the House, Tony, Arcadia Lunashine, Umbral Wind, Framboise Zakuro, Bergie, Fudge, Sephiel, Cafe, and Nat Clay. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, yours. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 399. I'm Nikhil Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Viston and Mela.
Georgi Viston.
Sorry, it's just the three of us today. But welcome. We're here.
Make it if we try.
We can. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon. It's episode 399. We're one away from the big 4-0.
Oh.
It is April 4-0. 4-0.
Oh my god, and it will be the big 400 on the 4th.
Oh my god.
Will it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
You could say that's fortuitous.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, welcome. It's.
Actually, you're right. Yeah. Shit.
What?
No, it will be.
Oh no.
it
You're
will be.
thinking about Eurovision. Yeah.
I was thinking about Eurovision. That's why I didn't. That's why I stopped talking, Mela.
Right. We're going to talk about that in a second. It's April 26th. It's April 27th, 2024. Shit. And today it's been a calm, quiet week in 14. We actually don't have recent events today. It's the second episode of the year with no recent events.
Don't worry, guys. The game is not dead. Okay, the game is alive. For sure.
Why'd you do it, Mela? Like, I know you love it. I know you love angering people, but he's joking. Okay?
I'm joking. There's loads to do.
Yeah, there's loads to do.
The Yokai event has started for those of you that have never done it before.
Yeah.
There's loads of old stuff to do.
There's unfortunately no drama. No one's like, well, I'm sure there is drama. I just don't fucking care. But like, I need community drama, like not like, streamer drama, because that shit I don't care about.
Yeah.
The biggest community drama I've seen is the people complaining again about blue mages killing fates before other people get there.
Yes.
Damn
yes.
blue mages.
Yeah. Okay, so today we're going to break down the second part of an interview we did a few episodes back with Kate. I always fuck up her name. Cwynar. It is just Cwynar. And it's about Wuk Lamat. So we'll be reading through that, but we are going to primarily focus on reading your MogMail today. speakersxiv.com/MogMail. Stay tuned for the post show. We have one question and no other segment, so we're going to do a big talk about the post show itself today.
I think you're underselling something that happens at the start of the post show.
Oh yeah, look here, that's really unfair to
the top of the show, like we're introducing the post show. Yeah,
what?
I know what you mean? Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's what he's referring to. So we're going to talk about just what to do with the post show, I guess, during the post show. So stay tuned for that as well. Okay, let's move on. Channel updates. If you're watching the video version, you are seeing a frame from a episode of Ceruleum Reactor You Will Never See.
No.
That's right. We did a whole episode, probably, and I thought when we were done with the episode, I thought this is the best episode we've ever done of Ceruleum Reactor. And today, I was going to start editing it, and I sat down, and there was no audio. Their Windows had updated that morning.
Genuinely was a really good episode. We
Dude, we talked about
we went all over the place. I think the conversations were pretty good.
Paradox, Manor Lords.
Disappointed in you. This is truly lost though, because some of the things we do. I mean, I don't know how much we can say about what we do, but the year in, of whatever episode we can't do that again.
No.
So we just have to move on from it.
We do. We just have to leave that. We are going to do an episode after Eurovision, so there will be a new episode of Ceruleum Reactor, but this one gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I was.
What happened in the year 1009?
We'll have to just move on to 1010.
No, we'll have to just do that again.
We can't do that year again.
No, we have to, Mel.
There are episodes of the podcast that are missing. People just have to accept.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one will ever hear about the year 1009.
The episode aired and then was taken.
The episode will be 10. We'll have to stop. We'll just have to skip to 10.
That's very.
We'll talk about it.
Unfortunate. We'll talk about how to deal with that later. This is breaking news currently, so we haven't really.
We're still getting all the facts.
We're still processing all of this. Something that's not hopefully going to be lost media is our Eurovision live coverage.
Yay.
Starting on Tuesday. We're gonna Eurovision countdown starts on Tuesday. I just said it. Yes. We do have a schedule that I wanted to show for a second, but just hang in there. Yeah, so we're
good this year.
Malmö, Sweden.
I say Malm, you say Mela.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
We're gonna hear that so much this year.
Nuts.
The Swedes are so happy that they have umlauts. That they can't help but talk about it.
Mela and I are going to be doing that call and repeat so often during our Eurovision coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
you would have to join in chat.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's not here.
Hi, Ronno.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. So on Tuesday, April 30th, we have Eurovision Countdown, which is like a pre-show for Eurovision, where we'll look at some old stuff and discuss entries and stuff. If you've watched it before, you know what it is, but it's like just to get you hyped for Eurovision. And then next week, May 7th and May 9th is the semi. So Eurovision Countdown and the two semis are available for Master and Supreme speakers. And then on the 11th for the grand final, senior speakers can join in as well. I'll also say that there will be VODs available for for Master and Supreme speakers as well after the shows are done. I think maybe... See, I have to rely on Google Drive to get the videos out in time, and it is so slow. But hopefully, I'll be able to get the semis and the Eurovision Countdown VODs out before the grand final. So those of you that can't watch it live can just watch the VOD to catch up. But yeah, there you go. That is Eurovision coming up very soon. Eurovision season I'll announce it now. Eurovision season has begun. On
Yay!
The channel will open for you. It should actually. I could just open it now, to be honest. But the website. Sorry, our website is down again. Don't worry. This happens because we have GoDaddy. We couldn't escape their grasp for the fucking domain. So we'll deal with that later. If you're watching this VOD, it'll be sorted when you watch this VOD, okay? You can't send MogMail right now, but soon you will be able to. Okay. Anyways, Eurovision happening. Enjoy that on Tuesday, and then next week. Anything else to say about it? I don't think so. Be there or don't.
Yeah, be there.
It's a big speakers tradition now to cover Eurovision. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I want to run the recent events intro. But there's no recent events. So just as I said that, the lights turned blue. Yeah, there's no recent events, guys. So we're gonna just move on and jump into MogMail. This is a weird show, weirdly paced. I can feel the lack of Rollo. I can feel it. He's missing. There's a fundamental part of us missing right now. All right, let's jump into MogMail. This is from Gil Tia from Zodiark. Hello, speakers. I want to talk about I want to talk about Solution 9. I don't exactly have a theory, just a thought that popped into my head, and I wanted to throw it out there and see what people can do with it. So we arrive at Solution 9, and it's empty, like in the trailer. As usual, this is the point where the gang splits up to look for clues, and we must aggressively palm the air above 3 glowing spots in a small radius. After finding nothing, we reconvene. Fade in. The twins, us and maybe Estinian or whatever. We share that none of us found anything. In walks Yerstola. Did you manage to get these people to tell you anything, or are they ignoring you too? Looks of confusion all around. Yerstola, you drunk bitch. What in the seven hells are you talking about? Alphino asks diplomatically.
Alphino?
He asks diplomatically.
Oh, okay, sorry.
There are people all around us. Do you not see them? There's some back and forth before somebody has an idea and they decide to pull out those ether goggles all the Scions used to wear back in A Realm Reborn. They put them on, and what do they see? Tons of people everywhere. And then I guess from there we try to find a way to make those people visible without the goggles, or make us visible to them. I don't know. Like I said, it was just a thought. It's like in Final Fantasy III when you get to that village that was turned into ghosts and you have to turn them back. Even though I know Dawn Trail is not the Final Fantasy III expansion. I just want Yerstola's ether sight to be relevant in some way. And since this is a new beginning, I think referencing the Scion's goggles would be a fun callback to the beginning of the game. Anyways, I hope that got some gears turning to pump out fun new theories. If not, at least I hope everybody enjoyed the ridiculous ideas that pop into my head at 3 a.m. With love, always, Giltia. P.S. I'm not bold.
Well, Rollo's not here to increase the count. So we need to watch this back. And I can tell you he will not.
No, he will not.
I mean, it's an insane theory. It's cool.
It's cool.
Like, as an idea, but I don't know. I feel like... Firstly, the idea that it's a new beginning and then bringing back something from the beginning of the game is a little bit odd. It's like, it's still times of the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Y'shtola use her sight for something is cool, but wouldn't we be able, like, why? I don't really know exactly how her ether sight works compared to everyone else. Would we not feel something?
We might feel something, but we might not be able to assume that it's something that could be seen with ether goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just love the theory. Just love the idea that Alphino calls Y'shtola a bitch, because that would be a bold new direction for the writing in this game.
The younger writers have finally got on board.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting theory. I mean, we don't see any, like it said, we don't really see any people in any of the art, which it is just art, and rarely do we see people in the artwork, except if they have I think... No, maybe not, actually. I'm trying to think of any of the artwork for the areas in the game that has people in it. I think there is some, where there's at least a suggestion of people in the distance, maybe. But yeah, this one is very empty, which could be because it's a spoiler. Maybe the people that are there don't look like anything we've seen before. Yeah.
Well, there have to be some people that look like us because of the posters that we've seen of.
Well, yeah.
One of Kira and one of Makoto.
That's true.
It's a bit unfair to say that Y'shtola's ether sight's never been relevant. It was a major plot point in Shadow Rings as well.
Yeah.
And Endwalker.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Less so in Endwalker, though, I feel.
Less so in Endwalker, but it does relate to the fact that she can perceive abominations.
Right. Yeah.
So she can't see me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny yoke.
It's been used fairly significantly recently.
Yeah. Okay. Good theory, I think. We'll see.
Maybe
Interesting
Graha
theory.
will be with us, and somehow his blood of Alag will make it come alive. Maybe it's an old Allagan, you know.
Oh,
Well, that would be interesting if
good
there's
idea.
something in Solution 9 requires the blood of Alag to activate.
Yeah.
That's not been used since the Crystal Tower race series.
True.
No,
And then
yeah,
all
that's
it was
incorrect.
to
That's incorrect. It was used following 5.4-ish when we went to Azizla briefly.
Oh yeah.
Oh
True.
yeah, because
Forgot about
he
that.
was the only one who could access the lab or whatever it was. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, thank you, Giltia. We'll move on to the next MogMail. Okay. Now listen. This is from Kamadani from Durandal.
Whoa!
This
Oh my lord!
I cannot fit. So
Oh God! Yeah. Okay.
This is like this is 2 pages.
I wasn't sure if we could read this because it's so long, but since
we have time.
we don't have a lot to, a lot of news stories today, so here we go. Lean back. It's story time. Hey, speakers. This is going to be a long one, so let me apologize in advance. Sorry. You're right. It is long. But you don't have to apologize because we need content this episode. This is perfect. Wow. In the current 14 content lull, I have finally started playing Dragon Quest X, which has a similar age and volume of content to 14. In fact, they just released their 6th expansion on March 23rd. I'd like to share some things Dragon Quest X has that I would love to see in 14. Before I start, however, I'd like to say that the Xbox 14 coin thing, reference to a few episodes back, is very similar to the setup they have for Dragon Quest X on the PSN. 10 on PC and Switch are one subscription. It's on Switch. Are one subscription and can be paid via all the usual ways: Amazon Pay, credit card, PayPal, etc., etc. Do they have?
Who starts a list of payment methods with Amazon Pay before credit card?
Yeah.
Where is PaySafe card? Thank you.
Where's that French one?
Carte Bleu. Yeah.
Yeah.
For PlayStation players, however, it is a separate subscription tied to the PSN. To add game time or buy anything from their cash shop, you need to charge money on your PSN wallet and then buy DQ coins. Those coins can then be exchanged.
Disqualification coins.
Those coins can then be exchanged for game time, in-game items, etc. I strongly suspect the 14 team, especially since Yoshi P used to be on the Dragon Quest X team, looked to what their other MMO did for inspiration to handle profit sharing with Microsoft. And yes, the amounts you can charge versus what things cost leave you with extra coins you may not need.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Dragon Quest X is still part of CBU3 that Yoshi P is watching over, so he definitely still have a hand in it.
Yeah. Are they under the same? We have to make sure that's right.
I thought that Yoshi P was in charge of all MMOs at Square Enix.
Yeah,
but I could be mistaken.
Guess you're probably right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, on to some ideas I think 14 could use, even if incorporating them may be impossible. When it comes to gearing and character development, I think Dragon Quest X is much more fun than 14.
Wow.
10 does have its own... So whenever we say 10, that's Dragon Quest X, not Final Fantasy X, which, 10 does have its own side content separate from the main story to collect tokens to trade for weapons, equipment, just like 14. What it also has, though, is loot tables for most monsters in the world/dungeons. They sometimes drop white treasure chests that contain weapons and armor. When you open one, a set of random stats/resistances, etc. are given to the piece of equipment. The stats are beneficial for
equipment.
Yeah, the stats are beneficial for the jobs that can equip the armor, though. You won't get like tank gear with bonus magic damage. Okay, so it's a little better than ethereal gear because that shit sucks. So you can farm mobs until you get the piece you want with the stats you want. You can farm multiples of the same gear, one for pure DPS, one for fire resist, one for knockdown resist, etc. It is much more.
Those are stats that are irrelevant in our game.
Yeah. It is much more fun to be able to farm common enemies in the world for gear/glamour instead of running a dungeon over and over, hoping a single boss drops a single piece. I have never had to farm for more than an hour or so for equipment. Also, sets in Dragon Quest X have set bonuses that in combination with a well-farmed set make gear last much longer. It is often better to farm a set of gear with the stats you want and use it for longer than just throw away your old gear once you get the next set. This is further boosted by a system to upgrade gear with help from crafters, but I don't think I need to get into that much detail here. Yeah, that's an interesting... 14 has sort of gone away from giving you a set bonuses. That was a thing for some gear, Maelstrom... Grand Company gear. Some of the early dungeon gear, I think, had set bonuses as well.
A lot of the paid gear.
The paid gear, yeah, that's
for some reason has it.
They went away from that.
They did go away from it, but it was very odd.
There was
a lot of relevant, script crafter gear still has set bonuses, but they're just over. They get outperformed by crafted gear.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that gearing in 14 is about as simplistic as it can get.
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of a treadmill, and you're not looking at the stats on your gear particularly. All you're doing is comparing it to either Savage versus Tome as to which one you think is going to be better. So there's not. I like the idea of this, and the idea of being able to farm gear outside of dungeons. It's not a bad.
I like the idea. It's just we don't have enough different stats to make it for them to create that much variety. They've taken out most of the potential variety in terms of stats in this game. It's all about just higher eye level all the time.
Maybe because you say gear lasts longer in DQ10 as well, maybe that shows a lack of balance in DQ10's itemization. If you can farm sets that are objectively stronger and keep them for longer, then maybe that's the downside of having so many stats.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends how you want to run your game.
Yeah. It's sometimes when you play if you play other games, other MMO-like games, and you see how many different stats they have, and then you think back on 14 where we have very few left. Well, I mean, and arguably, the strangest stat that we still have in the game that they introduced when they did the streamlining of stats is tenacity. I find tenacity and even piety to some extent. I mean, piety is still. I mean, I can understand it a little bit, but it's what it does is so minuscule. It's so pointless. Tenacity and piety, stupid. It means nothing.
I mean, I don't enjoy gearing in 14 particularly. There's nothing to it.
There's nothing fun about it.
No, it just has to happen. If they can find a way of making gearing more fun in 14, or alternatively, as have slightly brought up, having a system like what DQ10 has in the new exploration zone, or a new version of Deep Dungeon, or something like that, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
I really, I would like the gearing in this game to be a little bit more involved. You have a choice.
I just don't think gearing in this game can have any variety if there's no such thing as speccing in terms of skills. I just don't see how... If every job plays the same at the top tier in terms of optimization, then there's no real reason to differentiate that with the gear.
No, that's true.
It's a very odd thing.
The game would need a fundamental change in a lot of systems for that to for us to get that. But they haven't really. I mean, what if Dawn Trail? They're oh guys, we've completely changed the gearing system. We've changed this. We've brought back elemental resistance. We've brought back. It's all back, baby.
They mentioned none of this until 2 months before the expansion releases.
The game's the release schedule of this game just wouldn't work for that anymore either. The idea of having to farm fire-resistant gear to do the new to do Ifrit, Mega Ifrit or something is cool in theory.
Mm-hmm.
But they release one trial every patch. So you either get the gear and then do that trial, or don't get the gear. It wouldn't work in the way this game releases content.
I like Chat's idea of different gear for magical and physical resistance based on fight, but I don't think I'd want it to be. I don't want them to separate it too much, because at that point then it will get annoying. But I like the idea of having to get at least 2 sets rather than just one set.
I would like
what
that.
you got for 2 patches.
Yeah. God, didn't we also have like tinctures of elemental resistance, like fire draw?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fire I think they were called Fire Ward Potion. I think that's what they were called.
God damn!
You can still make them. But do you know what they do now?
What?
I believe, they turn into pigments for dyes when you use them.
Oh. Because I have a vague memory of doing Ifrit in 1.0 and people being like, make sure you have the resistance potions or whatever. What was it, potions? It was something. Was it materia, maybe? Like, God.
Yeah, well, there was materia. There were potions.
There was elemental materia, too.
You had to get fire resistance materia.
Yeah. It only really existed for a small period of time.
I remember why
it wasn't necessary.
It was removed was because it was so fucking tedious, because you had to take your old materia out and replace it with fire materia, or have a set specifically for Ifrit. Yeah, that too. Yeah, materia melding, especially in 1.0, was awful. Okay. Anyways, jobs in Dragon Quest X have something similar to, but less strict than the cross-class system that we used to have in 14. Instead of unlocking skills that you must have for other jobs to be viable, getting jobs in 10 to a certain level provides more HP, MP, speed, strength, etc. for all jobs. You don't
not
need
a
to
very good system.
You don't need to get them, but a player who levels more jobs will have an overall more rounded character than someone who just focuses on one job.
That's not a particularly strong system.
You'd be required.
Yeah,
that would become you would.
It's not a non-optional.
It would kind of remove the optional bit, like it is no longer optional if you're going to do. But then again,
I think I prefer what we have.
Depends on your playstyle. Maybe you don't want to do all. I mean, if you're casual, then maybe it's enough to just do one job. But yeah, it's weird.
I do miss cross-class skills in some respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just miss Raging Strikes.
I really miss Raging Strikes.
Yeah.
But I liked the idea of, you were slightly rewarded for trying out their their multiple job system, and some classes could have interesting builds based on it, but it ended up just becoming mandatory.
Yeah.
And for crafting, oh my god, it was required.
Yes, pretty much.
The greatest skills were locked behind.
I think anyway. That was the worst part, was that it also was applied to crafting. And to some extent gathering, but I don't think it fucking mattered for gathering. But for crafting, absolutely important, because I remember
Inner Quiet 2 or whatever.
Yes,
was only from Culinarian or something.
Yeah.
Tricks of the Trade, and I think
Tricks of the Trade
were both locked to
yeah.
That was I mean, you had to have
exactly.
Tricks of the Trade.
You couldn't do the macros without them. You couldn't do the rotations.
Yeah. But then again, we had for the combat classes, it was good because you could have a tank that could tank that could use Stone Skin, which was nice. Like tanks could Stone Skin themselves. Some good stuff in there. Eye for an Eye for White Mage if you did
I missed Eye for an Eye.
Yeah,
it's one thing they took away from us. Unlikely. Keel's class.
Oh god, we were robbed of almost everything. Okay. In addition to job bonuses, there's a system where enemies also drop orbs from chests. Those orbs unlock bonuses and boosts such as 2% less physical damage, X skill does 5 more damage per strike, decrease fire damage by 1%, and so on. Each skill has 5 tiers, and you have a limited amount of points to put into them, so you have to think strategically. You can always reset and reallocate your points, so your character can always be tweaked to match the encounter/dungeon you're doing.
I don't hate that, but I feel like they'll just it'll just be min-maxed by the community such that you know what you
immediately.
need for every single encounter.
It's a little like materia, but you can swap it around a bit more.
It's like I will never understand why they did this, but like our attribute points, like the bonus points that you got, why it would cost you, like why it was so hard to reset.
50,000 or whatever.
Yeah, like why was that not just always available?
Good luck to the Summoner Scholar players.
Yeah, I still remember that, like stupid, like fucking. You had to run. I was Flame at the time. I had to run to the Flames, buy this like Althix hymn, throw it, use it. And then you had to reallocate, and then you were like, "Oh fuck, am I really gonna play as a scholar now, or should I keep?" You know, you start doubting. It's like, this is 50,000 like fucking company seals. It's a lot. It wasn't 50. It was like 40.
Yeah, it was whatever the max was at the time.
It was 48,000. 48. So 2,000 left for the max.
That's what it was. It's crazy. Yeah. So I mean, this is I don't
mind this as a concept. But the trouble is, like you say, it just gets min-maxed, and that takes the fun out. Like, you have to have like specs that all play very differently and are still balanced. Like, as an example, a tank paladin or a DPS paladin. Mm-hmm. You know, do you remember how paladins used to have the off tank would be in DPS stance?
Yes. Yeah.
And that, you know, having something like that where they're fully focused on that role for the whole fight and they're both balanced, but they're both different ways of playing the same class, that's fun.
Yeah.
We're never going to get that because that would be too much work.
Yes.
But,
I think so.
They would have to dedicate a whole expansion to that, and they wouldn't be able to do it to every job in one expansion.
Yeah, and then that would, USP.
Yeah.
Which would get in on the first expansion league.
And it would end up being like Scholar and Summoner anyway.
True.
Well, yeah.
True. Finally, to wrap this up, I also think the solo play system of 10 is better than 14. Whereas 14 has kind of painted themselves into a corner with a trust system, so a certain number of NPCs have to be around at certain points to be available as trusts. 10 has something much more simple. At all the pubs throughout 10's world, you can hire NPCs to join you. It is kind of like Squadrons, but requires far less work on your end. What 10 does is pretty much, it takes a snapshot of your character and then allows other people to hire your character as an NPC to fight with.
Ooh.
As the player, all you need to do is search what job NPC you want and what level you want them to be. You can hire NPCs up to 10 levels higher than your max job. You pay them gold per hour for however many hours you use them. It's not expensive. When you log in, if someone has hired you, you get some EXP and gold too. Oh,
I love this idea.
That's a good
idea.
I mean, I think that there's a very easy way they could implement this, and that's just using a Zem's crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a great idea. I've never thought about that before.
Lots of games have, like Guild Wars 1, if you leveled your characters to max level, you could then on your next character have them accompany you.
Yeah.
11 has trusts, which you can be your other characters. No, can they be your other characters, or is it just other main characters in the story?
For 11?
It's other main characters.
11.
Yeah, they're no side. It's like characters from the story.
Just from
the mission.
Yeah, but not your alts is what he likes.
Oh no.
There's lots of ways of doing it. I don't mind trusts and duty support. If you're the tank, it works really well.
Yeah.
If you're not the tank, it's really annoying because you have to like edge close to the enemies until your tank decides to attack them.
Yeah.
I wish they just AI'd through the dungeon at a generic pace.
As a healer, I just drop a dot on one of them, and then they come, and then the tank saves me. Ideally, or the tank takes too long and I wipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Well, we already know
them
because they have the adventurers stuff in like the earlier leveling dungeons. And I mean, again, you can just load another character model on there. So I think the hiring system would definitely work in 14. Mm-hmm. And the idea that you get like rewarded if someone picks your character, I would assume it wouldn't be a lot. It would be like a little bit of gold, like whatever it costs per hour to per hour. I don't know how that would work. I would assume it would just get like a buff, like when you're, and it like has a timer on it. Like this is how long you have this character. Well, they just like. I guess it'll be like 11 where they like run behind you, like they're following you around.
Be nice to expand on the companion system and not have it not just chocobos.
Yeah.
So like having someone out in the open with you, can just build things.
We could rent out our characters, and you could do like content with our characters chat. That would be. Yeah. We would get.
Will cost a lot though.
Oh no, people would do bad. We would get so many like screenshots of like.
Yeah, that's very dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Anyway, maybe not. I
mean, the thing is,
I'll give you Roderick.
If people know what we look like, they can pretty easily recreate our characters anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. Okay. I think if 14 were to take inspiration from some of these systems, it would be a more fun, involved experience than what we have now. What do you guys think? Also, please drink some water after reading this short story. Thank you. I'll do that. Well, we said like there's a lot of interesting things here, but 14 is such a I don't know how to say this without making it sound bad. It isn't bad, but 14 is very simplified. It simplified itself a lot.
It has its formula and it sticks to it.
Yeah.
The thing is, in Dragon Quest X, like, what's the raid scene like? What's like how balanced does the game need to be? Because if 14 needs to be balanced because it has the ultimates, has world first raiding, it has a lot of competitive things in the PvE scene.
Yeah.
If Dragon Quest X has that as well, then how does it balance with all these systems in place? And if it doesn't need them, then it's fine that it can be in balance.
Are these systems that are only fun if you play casually and such that if you play at the top level like you would in 14, there's no room to move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it can sound fun, but if it's you have to play this build, it's the same as 14 really.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't get the choice, whereas you do.
Yeah.
So questions.
Yeah.
But it sounds fun. I always have said you should definitely play other MMOs and experience different MMOs.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have more information, Kamidani, to some of our questions, send in another more.
Yes. Yeah. The website is up again if you're watching live. I've already sorted it out, folks.
Oh,
nice.
speakersxv.com/mogmail. Okay, so thank you, Kamidani, and we carry on next.
Really wish I could play Dragon Quest X.
Same. I would want to try it one day, maybe. This is from. Okay, that's a lot. This is from Gelther Rolandson from Halicarnassus of House Dynamis. Ahoy, speakers. Some of my family played through the entire MSQ with me over the last year or so, and we've been sharing memes and have overall gotten really hyped for whatever comes next for the game. However, we have a heretic in the family who refuses to play the game with us. We've tried everything from extortion to MogMail? No, it was blackmail. But it didn't even work. How do we convince this individual to start making poor life choices and join us on our Eorzean adventure? It's important. P.S. If you're unable to give satisfactory answers to my question, I'll have no choice but to resort to more direct methods of persuasion. So no pressure. Hi. Well,
get them to play the free trial up to and including Stormblood.
I would have to assume that they've tried that. I feel like that is one of the first things you would use to try and convince.
Yeah.
There are only two options then: are respect their choice to not want to play the game, or ostracize them socially from family functions.
That's true. You can do stuff like that, or and maybe find out why do they not want to play it. Like I feel like information is missing here. Like there has to be a reason. Because are
they, for example, like a 3-year-old baby?
Yeah, a 3-year-old baby. Obvious. You'd probably not want to do that. They might not understand what's going on.
Or on the other side of the spectrum, like an 86-year-old grandma.
Your great grandma is probably also not able to play. But yeah, go on.
Have you tried showing them like any of the CGI trailers for the game?
Answers or whatever the full version was called.
Yeah.
that is the hype machine.
Yeah. Yeah, that tends to work. And also, like, just because if I was in a family where everyone was playing the same game and they were constantly talking about it, I would want to join in, I think. I'd feel very left out.
Yeah.
So there has to be, like, maybe that you haven't, like, you need to hook them. Yeah, I think the trailer is a good idea if you haven't shown that
Let
already.
them play, like, on your account for a bit. Just, like, let them have a go. Like, make them run a dungeon or something.
Do a character creator. Like, just try them. Because once...
Yeah.
The thing is, the way you get them in is to make... And how you know if they're going to, like, try to, like, stick to it is how long they spend in the character creator. Because the longer they stay there, the more connected they suddenly become with this character they've made. And then they feel bad that they're not, like they're not playing it. That's how you get them. That's how I got Avero. That's how I got Lonigan. It works. And they played for many years. Now. Well, they played for like 4 years, I think.
They played for a long time.
Yeah.
Does this family member like Tom Holland or Hannibal Buress? There's an ad you can show them.
Oh, right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. A lot of the PR for 14 is, well, I was going to say mostly good, sometimes good. You're going to have to pick out the ones that are actually good.
Yeah.
Some of the
you could show them those Korean anime commercials for the game because they're pretty cool.
Are they into anime? If so, then yeah, show that.
Oh yeah, do they like Sia? They could also show them the. You could also show them the that commercial that had the live action Estinian in it and the annoying woman.
Oh yeah,
that one was awful. But try it.
Don't show the A Realm Reborn live action Louis Soir ad.
No, yeah, especially show them that one. That's horrifying.
You could download an A Realm Reborn private server so they can enjoy the game at its peak, and then they'll be filled with nostalgia. Don't actually, obviously. It's not allowed. Okay. But then they'll be filled with nostalgia, and then they'll be able to join in with every current player and be like, back in my day, Final Fantasy
when I played 1.0.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you tried showing them Fallen Rise?
Yeah.
Oh, they'll just be like, no clip. I prefer no clip, actually, is what we're going to get back
instantly,
in reply. Yeah.
Well, that would also work.
Yeah, watch No Clip's documentary. That will probably be better.
Yeah. Or just let them get on with their life.
Yeah, if not, then there's literally nothing to do.
Yeah.
There are compilations of the dev team doing stupid things. You could show them that. They might find them entertaining.
Yeah.
Leave pictures of FoxClon's cosplays around their room.
Yes. Forgiven FoxClon, Loperate FoxClon, and what was it, Sodilin?
God,
Sodilin,
all of them have been horrible.
Show them that billboard and tell them that this game is so big.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell them they can listen to all their favorite music, but surrounded in the company of half-naked cat girls at some local DJ bar with the greatest DJs in Final Fantasy XIV history.
Show them, and then show them what the ones that do all the plays, like the theater.
They're
stuff.
cool actually. You
can show how
what is it? Or something reborn. What is that one?
A stage reborn. Is that what they're called?
A stage reborn. Yeah, I've always wanted to watch one of them.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Well, no, we're not gonna tell them to watch us.
Don't show them us, because
show them us.
We will put them off everything. But
unless they like great humor, in which case, we're that.
Have you tried showing them K? Might be a good entry point.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're willing to take extra steps, show them K, then show them us.
Yeah, and then they'll be so hooked by the whole concept, they'll think, well, I want to do Alliance Raid Roulette while barely paying attention to the game so I can watch K. And then, that'll be it.
That's right. Okay, well, there you go. Thank you.
So many options.
Gelther,
let us know how it goes, Gelther.
Yeah, good luck. And also, I will say, keep playing the game and keep having in-jokes about 14. Eventually, they'll break. And they'll be like, for fuck's sakes, I need to be part of this. And it'll work. Yeah.
Have we ever explained who K is
No,
podcast,
and we won't.
Because otherwise, that okay.
Watch the fucking
Okay.
streams if you don't
watch
know.
our streams. God.
Watch our streams. Okay. Thank you, Gelther. We'll do more. Here we go. Next, MogMail. This is from Nyanko Toka from it's Rivicus from Odin Light. Hello, speakers. Long-time lurker, recent chatter, first-time writer. Lately, I've been slowly working on my Endwalker relics in a passive way, and as I was checking out my machinist gun in its completed state, something came into my mind. I was struck by the designs of the final steps on the Manderville weapons. Don't you think they look kind of similar to something you could find in Solution 9? Oh, I see. And or the Arcadion. It might just be a feeling on my part, but that aura with the hexagon shield plates seem like it would fit right into the gaming PC aesthetic that characterizes the concept art we've been shown during the live letters. We know from the Hildebrand quests that those weapons are alien technology, but do you think there's a chance they could be tied to the lore of Solution 9 in any way? Thank you for your usual shenanigans, Rivkas. Okay,
There's a chance.
We did touch on this in an episode.
Yeah, we talked about this in our episode where we were talking about Solution 9 theory. I don't know if... Because we did think about this, but I don't know if we mentioned in that episode that, like, one of the things that supported the Hildebrand theory, that it was the
Mandervillians.
The
Mandervillians, thank you. Yeah, the Mandervillians is the fact that this is their weaponry looks similar to the aesthetic of Solution 9.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be a fucking crazy tie-in, but
yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah, for real though, like think about why do they look like this? Did they just do that to give us like a little bit of a teaser for the expansion?
I think they wanted to desensitize us to the absolutely like jaw-droppingly just non-conforming zone that is Solution 9. It is very stark in contrast to the rest of this game.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we do need some level of desensitizing to that, because you can't just go from the jungles of Tural to that.
Well, to be fair, we've had the Loperate aesthetic as well has, it's not fully, gaming PC. It's still fantasy, whimsical, but
it was slow
high-tech.
again. It was slowly
but
over
I feel
time.
like,
they introduced it gently.
Yes, that's what they've been doing all along, is to like make us accept it more in the world, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I don't think it would be too crazy for it to be, Hildebrand. Maybe Hildebrand. I don't know if we have confirmation that Hildebrand will return in Dawn Trail. Do we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we do. They've said it.
Even more Hildebrand.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really absurd name.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's very possible that they can include the aliens without referencing Hildebrand. The main issue is the name of them, calling them Mandervillians.
Yeah.
But like, it's also possible, like they could easily explain that away and say that those particular parasitic aliens were very eccentric and they chose to like try and distinguish themselves from the actual race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And they could be just like, I mean, it's like how there are clans of our races. Maybe the Mandervillians are a clan of whatever this parasitic race is.
True.
I mean, I say all these things. I don't think it's likely.
No.
But it's possible.
Yes.
It's very possible.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Also, as chat slightly brings up about the theme of the relics, I would love them to go back to being a little bit more unique in how relics look.
Right.
Like the Realm Reborn ones. I don't really like every relic having the same visual effect. I like them to be class specific.
I also miss the like exclusive lore that comes with each weapon.
Oh, a Realm Reborn's relic lore was the only good one.
Yes.
It was so good.
Because now the relics they have one lore, like these are the
one
weapons
quest
of
and one story.
Yeah.
It's been that way since Stormblend. It's very disappointing.
Yes.
Even Heavensward was one quest line though as well with the anima stuff, but at least the relics had a little bit of
some lore.
Slight,
but a Realm Reborn,
slight difference in the design.
It's unfair. A Realm Reborn is like 1.0 stuff where everything was like super like lore heavy because that was all you got in the game. Yeah.
Right. And also, there's a fraction of the weapons they had to make back then.
Well,
also true. That's also true. But
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know if that should be an excuse. This is one of their biggest games, biggest money.
Well, yeah, they
cash
should be able
cows.
to put the money into.
We have
this
to
game
stop
as well.
thinking that they can't afford making a weapon with some lore bits tied to it. You know, like they can still have the same quest line. I'm fine with the Heavensward treatment, but
Yeah.
you know, you can make a little lore blurb about your weapon, maybe a little line of text, like especially for the quest. You already know that, you know, the quest. There's a quest flag for which which weapon you're working on, right? For the current ones, you can add like one dialogue box about like what the weapon is, just so it feels a little more special. Stuff like that. You know, 14 makes so much money.
But they've got to piss it away on rubbish projects.
I mean, I don't think that the lack of visual design differences is something they consider a money issue. I think it's because they like them having the same story.
I think they should stop.
I don't think they like relics at all. To be honest, I don't think. I think like is the wrong word.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they like the fact that it's all
They're
one
trying to
story
wean us
that
off
they
them.
don't have.
Yeah. I think they've been trying to get rid of the relic system, but they did say that relic.
Well, no, bravo, because you know tomes are so much more rewarding to grind for. Thanks.
Relics. They said that the relics coming back in the expansion, and they have taken the feedback from this relic. So we'll see.
It's not a great look though. Think about how many casuals play this game as like.
You can, I mean,
like you know, they don't want to do savage, like they actively don't want to do savage raiding, but they do want something to do.
I have a, yes, that's true. I mean, there are a lot of relics in this game. You can do any of them, you know, like you can, if you don't like the current ones and you haven't done all the old ones.
Grinding poetics forever isn't, I don't think that's what they want to do. I think they want to do things where they can like turn their brain off and just, like, you know, spam content.
I mean, grinding poetics allows them to turn their brain off.
Well, in a way.
I don't know if we can necessarily speak to what the casuals like, because most of what we've heard about the feedback in regards to the Endwalker relic, is stuff from the people that are in the community who, of course, aren't going to like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
I have a question. So when I have, because the relics don't really, I don't care about them right now. When you get all the relics, you get an additional achievement for getting all of them. Does anyone know?
Each individual relic.
Fuck, I hate that too.
Remember
the insatiable achievement you got for getting all
that was for Realm Reborn.
Realm Reborn.
That was for a Realm Reborn, and that was only for getting the certain step. It's a very early step. You don't get it.
Yeah.
There's no separate achievement for getting them all to the final.
Yeah.
No, but you got all the relics.
Yeah. But
I think there should be an achievement. Do you not think there should be an achievement for getting all the relics?
I agree with you, yeah.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they bothered.
You say that, but like there are more achievements to get now, because they originally what they've said with A Realm Reborn is that they didn't want to force you to get every relic, which is why the getting every relic one is only for the first step.
Yeah.
But then they went back on that with Heavens, and they started to make it so that each step of every relic is a different achievement.
Yeah.
I still want to get an achievement. I mean, but their view stance on achievement is so strange. Like I agree.
Yeah, you should. Why not make it?
Give us like a pat on the back if we get all the relics. You know, like why?
Achievements in this game are fucking weird because you've got like
your pat on the back is that you've got 20 different achievements for that step.
It's not good enough.
I need a title. I want a title for that. You know, Insatiable was a good title.
The highest killing mobs achievement is like 500,000 or something. You get that after playing a Realm Reborn. Yeah. But then there's a dungeon achievement for like do like 100,000 dungeons, which is insane. Like the achievement disparity is weird. It's like some of them seem like, you know, not an achievement at all. And some of them are insane for like 5 points.
Rivkus,
the game doesn't make sense.
You brought up relics and you've got us all hot and bothered here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Anyways, back to the question. It probably is like just meant to be like a visual teaser for the expansion. I think. I don't think there's any. There might be a nod to Hildebrand. When Hildebrand returns, they might be very much involved in that area.
I think it would be an awesome tie-in if it's somehow related.
Yeah.
If they are able to wrap it up and tie it together with a bow in a neat way and not in an awkward way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rivkis. I guess it's time for the main story. Then we'll read an interview here. This is part 2 of an interview we did a while back. I would say 4 or 5 episodes back.
Yeah.
I think it might even be longer ago, but
yeah, it might be longer. I don't remember what is time. Kate Cwynar. She talked about in the first part. She talked about Toral and dealing with the themes of quote unquote the new world. And
the tone of the expansion.
Yes. And this is from PC Games N.
What does the N stand for?
All right, with Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail ferrying us off to new lands and a fresh adventure kicking off following the conclusion of an overarching decade-long story arc in previous expansion Endwalker, there's certain to be somewhat of a new tone in store for long-standing players of the best MMORPG around right now. The Final Fantasy XIV patch 6.55 gave us a first taste of that with the introduction of newcomer Wuk Lamat and our primary reason for journeying to Toral. So PC Games N sat down with English localization lead Kate Cwynar to talk about the process of putting that first foot forward for a new expansion and the response from fans. If you've yet to read the first part, oh, there we go.
We already have.
Yeah, we already talked. Thank you. Ahead of Dawn Trail, we've been treated to the arrival of Wuk Lamat, the first Final Fantasy XIV female Hrothgar to appear in-game, and a character Cwynar says she was definitely very nervous about, because as you can tell from her voice, we've taken a rather bold approach here. Cwynar nods to the likes of Thavnir in Endwalker, noting, "We've done a bit of accent work in places here. Frankly, it doesn't make sense to have the whole world speaking British RP, and it's not the kind of world we want to create." There are accents in Thavnir, but also there are so many people that speak with British accents in Thavnir.
Mm-hmm. Thavnir is the port of the world, though. It's got all sorts going through it.
Yeah, but Nabdeen is one of the people that I think speaks with a British accent, and he's the head of the whatever the royal guard is of the nation.
Yeah,
that's true. He used to have a stronger accent, but the loss of texture to his face stripped him of his accent.
Poor Nabdeen. We want to create a world with diversity where not everyone feels beholden to speak this one certain way, even if their native languages are different, she continues. As such, there's been a push to bring in actors of Latin American descent for some of the characters you'll meet in Toral throughout Dawn Trail. She notes that the arrival of Wuk Lamat, voiced by Sina Breyer, is probably quite jarring when we suddenly inserted them into Charlian, where everyone is the most posh British person ever. It is.
That's true, but that was also good because it made you realize it was a foreign person.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
It's certainly a striking introduction, although it immediately warmed me to the character who carries the player through patch 6.55 with a bounding enthusiasm that, at times, gives way to reveal her inexperience. It was a very interesting way to introduce the character, I thought, because she's clearly putting on an attitude for this trip, Cwynar muses. As for how the audience responded, Cwynar says it's been mostly positive, which I appreciate.
Yes, true, mostly.
Because she's a character that I really like personally. You know, you try not to take criticism players give too personally, but for myself, the hardest thing is if there's a character I really like and then people say, this character sucks. I'm like, no, you're wrong. Yeah, I think people are wrong.
Yeah.
People are dumb. I know some folks weren't super happy with Wuk Lamat's voice, because I think it's hard to adjust to it in that context. She just sounds so different from all the other characters when she's in Eorzea, Cwynar continues. But once we get to...
I think that's a very generous thing for Kate to say in regards to the people that are complaining about her voice.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Well...
But again, it was difficult to add this character in during what I suppose we can call patch cycle voice acting quality.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when everyone plays the expansion, it's at that full production quality we're used to.
Yeah.
No one will have the same issues, hopefully.
Yeah. People seem to forget that the voice acting in that whole patch was pretty...
it was pretty bad all around.
Yeah,
As people just recording in their homes or whatever, or like on Skype or something.
Yeah,
whereas with the patch site, with the expansions, they're doing it, properly.
Yeah.
Also, Kate has to be diplomatic here because she can't exactly make a strong statement lest that reflect poorly on Square Enix.
No.
Yeah.
But once we get to Tural, I think that that adjustment will be easier. I'm reminded somewhat of the bold arrival of Gosetsu. Gosetsu! Stormblood's loud... I always want to say it in a weird way when I see it. Gosetsu. Stormblood's loud Doman samurai. Personally, I always find very distinctive accents or speech patterns quite endearing. Especially in a game so resoundingly dominated by a particular way of speaking as 14 has been. Yeah?
True.
Dude.
Gosetsu was a great character.
I turned my...
And it is nice when people sound a bit different.
Yeah.
But I also have enjoyed the switch to real UK accents rather than the A Realm Reborn horror show. So that's been nice too.
Yeah.
Now keep talking, Mailer, because clearly Lakil has an issue right now.
I turned my microphone...
One thing that they spoke about earlier, which is something I miss in a lot of fantasy settings, is multiple languages. And I've always disliked the Babelfish way of getting around that in all fantasy. Star Trek with the universal translator, this with magic. I don't know, it feels like a cop-out for world building to not have different languages, as obviously. Like the dragon language is good.
Yeah.
We know there are other languages. It's a lot of effort to make other languages.
Yes.
And to do it well, you need proper linguistic experts, because otherwise you're going to come out with something that sounds grammatically incorrect. No matter how you choose.
Because people are going to start breaking it down, and be like, "Is this actually a real language?" And then they try to make sense.
It's rough, but the people who have put in that effort reap the rewards. Look at Tolkien.
Yeah, but come on now, you can't compare fucking Elvish to...
I know, but come on, I do miss it though. I miss it as a nod to even just
We have Dragon Speak, which is
cool.
Pretty good, I guess.
I will also say that having read the first 3 books in the Aragon cycle, or the Inheritance cycle is what I think it was called.
Yeah.
Having to go to the back of the book to read the glossary of how to translate certain languages was very frustrating at the time.
Yeah. But that's a language that is like almost complete, I think. Like you can speak that language, I think, for the most part. I think there are some people that are like keeping it alive still, like updating it as well, which is interesting. But anyways, that is literally decades of work to get that language fully up and running. Okay. Anyways, let's see. Resoundingly dominated. I've always found very distinctive accents or speech patterns quite endearing, especially in a game that's so resoundingly dominated by a particular way of speaking as 14 has been. Overall, I was really happy with how much people loved Wuk Lamat.
No, that's correct. No, sorry.
Cwynar says.
I was interrupting you.
If I had a nickel for all the memes of I've had Wuk Lamat for 5 minutes, but if anything happens to her, it's been a pleasure to see those. And I know Cena's been really happy with the reception, so that's great. Good. The inhabitants of Tural aren't the only ones doing the talking, of course. While the player character in Final Fantasy XIV doesn't speak out loud, beyond a few grunts and exclamations, there's been an increasing trend, especially through Shadowbringers and Endwalker, to give the Warrior of Light more of a voice through the player-selected dialogue options. And these have increasingly offered more light-hearted and silly selections alongside the serious options. I asked Cwynar how often more offhanded lines end up catching on in a bigger way than expected. It's always those silly one-liner things, right? We often asked about the jokes. Hold on.
We're often.
I've scrolled away from this text. We're often asked about the jokes, and if we're sitting around workshopping jokes all
How are
day...
you expecting to read it?
I was too eager to scroll. And if we're sitting around workshopping jokes all day, we're definitely not. Oftentimes, however, some of the funnier options come as a result of initial drafts that end up sticking around. I did start writing some of those player dialogue options to be a little bit sillier, just because I had time pressure, and then I decided, this is actually funny. I'm going to leave it in. And then people really liked it, so I guess we'll keep doing that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It usually,
maintain a
usually
balance.
gives you like
but...
one extra fun line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think they, for the most part, managed to handle dialogue options quite well in terms of providing everyone with an option that they'd be willing to pick. There have been at least 2 occasions off the top of my head where all the dialogue options did not satisfy the players in terms of how they felt their character should react. The first one being when you accompany Yugiri to go fight Xenos in Yancha.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to say no to her. And the other one being your response to Xenos in Ultima Thule to fight him.
Yes. Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with the most recent patch with Graha, where he was like, you can basically say, no, I'm not interested, but you get brute forced into it. And it's like, if you're going to give me the option, make it do more than what you did with it. Otherwise, just don't give it.
Yeah, I agree. They're an addition I've come to really appreciate. Final Fantasy XIV is very much a player-centric RPG game, perhaps even more so than it is an MMO nowadays. And so being able to define your Warrior of Light in small ways is a welcome touch. I've spent 10 years with some of the game's long-standing cast, and as the Scions and their companions have grown ever closer, it would feel weird if we couldn't join in on giving our mates a bit of a razzing from time to time.
10 years? I didn't know Kate had been with the company that long. I mean, obviously Koji was the head translator before that.
This is the journalist speaking. This is not.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes more sense.
This is Kate. For me, having those options is something that's really important, Cwynar tells me. Logistically, when you're making a game, you can't always make these really long branching dialogue trees. We don't have time, and Final Fantasy XIV isn't set up for that sort of thing. This isn't Mass Effect. So when we do have those dialogue options, personally, it's really important for me to make those something that people will find expressive. Whenever I get to them in my translation, I think about what is the most diverse we can make these options and still have them be something people would want to logically choose.
I mean, they initially in Stormblood tried. I mean, they said we'll be expanding on dialogue options depending on your class and things like that, and it didn't really change that much. Like, as a healer, you could do a little bit, but it didn't do enough.
I would say, as a healer, we get the most of these.
Yeah, you do.
Healer gets a lot,
but the thing is, like, I can imagine it feels bad to be a healer, but not be able to do any healing really. Sorry, it's too deep a wound. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
When you can literally resurrect people from death.
We can't.
But it's not actually
from death,
really. It's
from being
just
knocked out.
It's just from being exhausted. Yeah. But it's honestly, it doesn't really matter. I don't think this game needs. It's a Final Fantasy story. Final Fantasy games aren't branching.
No,
RPGs.
they're not that.
They're a storyline, and that's fine.
Yeah. They do like.
I'd rather it be good than.
I mean, they do still do like little nods to things you've done. Like if you've maxed your craft. I mean,
they've increased that. They've definitely increased the amount of dialogue changes that occur for things you've done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for who you are.
Right.
And think about the work that has to be put in for that. Like, I mean, it was at the end of Endwalker, it was like whole additional cutscenes with certain characters depending on the side quests you've done.
Yes.
It went on forever.
Think about having to think about these things.
Yeah.
And then tiny little side things in just like a seasonal event, but if you've happened to have done a certain quest, hats off to them for that.
Yeah.
You could have sped up that whole cutscene, Nikhil, if you'd done nothing in this game.
Imagine
how short it would be.
Yeah. God, that would be
Imagine
sad.
being a sprout who just really is rushing through it's just like you're still like, well done.
Yeah. You're
The the most significant change I can think of off the top of my head related to having done content that maybe other people haven't done before is the appearance of Gaia in 6 point something.
Oh yeah, when we briefly went to the first, yeah,
6.5, I think.
I think that was 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, it's so hard to think of the raid content as optional. Like it's inconceivable to me that people wouldn't do it. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Why she is completely.
Yeah, she's
That's
only
all she does.
in. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I wish.
I wish I'd never done it, so I didn't have to deal with it.
Well, you'll have more of a chance to talk about that tomorrow, maybe.
Yes, that's right. We're doing well. That's a teaser for the. Oh well, actually, we are at the end of the show, so we can tease it now. Yeah, I think that's where we'll wrap up for today.
Good interview, PC Games N.
Good interview.
I think it was fair.
Yeah,
it's nice to hear some background on.
It's the first interview that I think we've had with Kate. I don't think Kate's done an interview before this.
No.
She seems to have interesting things to talk about, like she did on the panels and stuff at FanFest. I like Kate. She's interesting.
Let's pray that there's more news next week. So
hell yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Send us MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail, since we're burning through our inbox right now. So if you have anything, talk about like the benchmark stuff. Again, send us stuff about like how you feel about the benchmark if you want us to like discuss it more. Anything else as well.
You know they're going to give us all the news on the week that we have to delay the podcast by a day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's fine, though. Eurovision comes first.
Yes, that's true. We'll talk more about like the shifting of our schedule due to Eurovision. I'll give you a little warning, is that when Eurovision starts in 2 weeks, the podcast will air on Sunday. But that's only for one day, only for that week, but it will be moved. But we'll talk about that in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, Discord and chat if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, links in the description. If you're watching live, we'll see you in the post show. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.